Hello, I'm David Mathews with Spark of Life. Our heartbeat is to walk beside those of you who are devastated by loss, horrific losses, both death losses and non-death losses. And we have worked with thousands of people since 2007 as we started this nonprofit called Spark of Life. We've done 109 3.5-day retreats with over 1,500 people coming from all over the world. And we've done numerous grief workshops for churches, for businesses, and are still doing those. And here's the question we get all the time: where in the world is God in the midst of all this crap I'm dealing with? Where is He? Why didn't He show up? Why didn't He answer my prayers? Why didn't He stop my child from dying? Why did He allow the sexual abuse that my grandchildren underwent, or my children, or whatever it is, maybe your sexual abuse, all these losses? Why did my spouse leave me when I tried to do everything right and I prayed for a godly mate? Why am I suffering? Where is God in the midst of all this? And these questions about God just continue. I was watching some TV show the other night, and Kevin Costner was the star of this TV series, and he was asked by somebody about whether he believed in God or not, and he said, "No, I don't believe in God." This was his character. "I don't believe in God because there's so much pain in this world. I've seen all the evil of this world." Well, the dilemma of the dirt is what I call it. How could God exist with the dirt being so enormous all over this world? If you were honest with the happiness of people since the creation of human beings until today, on a worldwide basis, how many people live in poverty? How many children go to bed hungry? How many hospitals are filled with those who are suffering horrible diseases? Why is there so much pain and suffering in this world? If God is all loving and if God is all powerful, why didn't He do something about it? And so a lot of people have given up on the concept of God because of all the dirt in the world. Years ago, my son, our oldest son, was 3 years old, and he and I went out to the backyard, and so there's a patch of ground in the backyard that we could not get grass to grow. I had complained about it. Evidently, he had heard me complaining. My wife and I, I joke around that we prayed over it. We anointed the grass with oil, or the dirt with oil. We sodded it. We seeded it. We watered it. We prayed over it. We fasted. All this is an exaggeration, of course. We did all this, and nothing we did could get rid of the dirt. And so one spring day, Debbie that's my wife, was in the house with our 1-year-old daughter, Sarah, and our oldest son, Adam, was 3. I said, "Adam, let's go outside." So we went outside. We sat down in this patch of dirt. I mean, it was, I don't know how big it was. And I said, "Adam, let's talk. You talk, I'll listen. What do you want to talk about?" He said, "Well, Daddy, that bush over there, did God plant that bush?" And I said, "Yes, He planted that bush." Then he said, "What about the trees? Did God plant the trees? Like, where did the trees come from?" And I said, "Yeah, God planted the trees." And I liked this because at that time I was a preacher, and I thought, well, if preachers who have 3-year-olds who don't like God, they don't get good jobs, right? They don't get good jobs. So I said, "Adam, yes, God planted the trees and He planted the bushes." And I was taking mental notes because I had a sermon to preach Sunday. So this was going to be good, and this would look good on the resume, right? So then he said, "Daddy, what about this dirt we're sitting on? Did God plant this dirt?" Well, I had to admit that I'd never had that question before. I was 31 years old. We had 2 healthy children. I had a somewhat good job. We're paying our bills. It was a beautiful spring day. We had just bought our first house. Everything was going good in my life, right? Have you ever had that? Everything going good, and then it's over? Well, I knew that there's suffering in this world. I knew that because I had had some suffering. But I never thought whose fault was dirt. Who planted the dirt? And when he said, "Daddy, did God plant the dirt?" I had to admit, yeah, I guess He did plant the dirt, Adam. And then the questions that people have asked, and I've asked to God 100 times: why so much dirt, God? Why don't you make the dirt piles a little bit smaller? Why so much dirt in this world? Have you ever asked the question, why so much dirt? So that has been hounding me for all these years. Why so much dirt? When we started our Spark of Life grief recovery retreats and online courses, online retreats, all that stuff that's online, sparkoflife.org. When we started it, I knew there was pain in the world. I'd worked with people in pain for years and years. I have a degree in substance abuse counseling. I'd worked with families who had been devastated by addiction, all kinds of addictions, right? I had seen it. I'd been in their homes. I'd buried their loved ones who had died of addiction. I've been there. I've done that. Many of you have been devastated by loss. God, where are you? So we were familiar with the pain. But when we started Spark of Life, and we started doing retreats and spending 3 days with people, 3.5 days, and sitting at the dinner table with them and walking outside with them and going through our curriculum and what we do in our retreats, I started to realize that my view of suffering in this world was very limited. I knew there was pain, but now we really know there's pain. Have you been there? Why so much dirt in the world, God? I don't have all those answers. There are some answers. There are some answers. The Bible says that God was familiar with grief. Isaiah states that. It also says that God intentionally sent his son and crushed him. You read Isaiah, God intentionally crushes his son. It's not just his son. It's his only son. It's his only child. God did that. God's answer to the pain in the world. By the way, God knows there's pain in the world. All through Scripture, my wife and I were reading Galatians this morning, and Paul talking about the evil in this world. Look, all the biblical writers admit there's evil in the world. There's pain in the world. There's suffering in this world. In this world, Jesus said, you will have trouble. Almost in my bad moments, I want to say, duh, of course we will. But Jesus understood it. God understood our pain. God understands that this world is a fallen world. He doesn't like it either. He weeps at the gravesite of Lazarus. God in the flesh, Jesus, weeps as he connects to the pain. In Exodus 3, God looks down. The cries of the people of his people are coming up to him. They're enslaved in Egypt. They're suffering. And their cries go up to God. Read Exodus 3, and the cries go up to God. He hears their cry. He sees their suffering. He's concerned with their suffering, and he sends Moses to relieve them of their suffering, but really he sent Jesus to relieve the suffering. Well, Jesus came and people still suffered, I know, but he conquered death. He did something to our eternal, to our value and to our hope. He gave us eternal hope. And so God has done everything he can to be there for us. He knows we're suffering. He knows it. So at Spark of Life, we believe there's always hope. There is always hope, no matter what your loss is. And we've seen some horrific losses. And you know what? We have found that people can find hope when they're looking for it. So go to sparkoflife.org, sparkoflife.org. I've written a book called Why Do You Hurt Me, God? And what I told you about the story of Adam, I don't know if you can see that. Why do you hurt me, God? We're going to do a series of videos on this, but God doesn't intentionally hurt us, people. He loves us. He knows we live in this world, and we're going to talk about the necessity of pain and the necessity of evil in our next video. But why do you hurt me, God? God would say, I hate that you hurt, and here's the solution. Here's Jesus. For more information about our retreats, about our online help, our online retreats, our in-person retreats, our online course, grief coaching, go to sparkoflife.org. At Spark of Life, we believe there's always hope.